Like most people who grew up in the 1990s, I absolutely fucking loved Toy Story. I actually kind of love all of them, and the inclusion of Keanu Reeves in the fourth one is honestly incredible, in my opinion. I fucking love Keanu Reeves. And I think it goes without saying that the first three Toy Story movies make for one of the best trilogies of all time. So, when I saw the trailers for Lightyear and heard it was the movie that Andy saw that made him fall in love with Buzz, I'll admit, my interest peaked a little bit. But then the reviews from movie channels and podcasts came out, and they all pretty much said the same thing. It wasn't very good, and Buzz is weirdly sad for most of the movie. And now, after avoiding this movie for about 3 years, I figured, what the hell? It can't be that bad, right? Right? Now, the movie opens telling us that this is in fact the movie that made Andy fall in love with the character of Buzz Lightyear, which led to him getting the toy of Buzz Lightyear. So I just want to make sure we're all clear. This is in fact that movie. After that, we meet Mr. Buzz Lightyear on his ship of 1,200 people as they venture to an uncharted planet to check out some detected life forms. Once on the planet, Buzz heads off to investigate, where he runs into his friend Commander Hawthorne, who makes fun of him because Buzz is just narrating everything to himself, something that Toy Buzz also did, which is a nice touch. Now, the character of Buzz is summarized as someone who doesn't like to do things with other people because he would rather just do it himself, and he doesn't like autopilot. So, inevitably, he's forced to work with other people and also rely on autopilot. So, in the middle of his speech to the unwanted rookie, he gets interrupted by giant vines and flying bug things that attack them and their giant spaceship. So, Buzz is supposed to be good at his job. I mean, we all know him as this incredible space ranger. But in this situation, he shoots his pistol a couple times and then just throws the gun at the bugs? Was it not covered in Space Ranger Boot Camp that you can reload your guns? Because honestly, I really fucking hate this trend of people throwing their guns after they're done using all the bullets in the magazine. You might want to hold on to that. You could find another magazine. Could be useful down the road. Our trio starts to run away from the vines, so Hawthorne and Buzz activate the stealth ability on their suit in order to escape everything. But because these guys are kinda dumb, they forgot that they run out of juice, and then they're surprised when the stealth function wears off. In the end, it doesn't matter because Buzz tries to do everything himself, which results in the ship crashing and some really cute airplane evac style slides helping everyone get off of the spaceship. After that, Buzz acts like a little drama student, saying that he deserves to be thrown in the brig because his actions destroyed their hyperspeed crystal. Hawthorne tells him to shut up and stop being a baby, and then 1 year later, they're ready for their first hyperspeed test after working around the clock to get themselves off this planet. Oh, and Buzz's iconic To Infinity and Beyond thing, yeah, it's his secret handshake with Hawthorne, and it's just something they do. So that's cool. I always kind of thought that was like the Space Ranger motto or something. Buzz's test flight takes off, and he banters back and forth with his autopilot, Ivan, when their course gets knocked off track. Now, this test flight is supposed to be 4 minutes long, but it actually ends up being 4 years, 2 months, and 3 days, which is a lot more. Like, a lot more. Naturally, this bums Buzz out even more because he's supposed to finish the mission, which is getting everyone to their intended planet, but in order to test out the hyperspeed fuel, he'll lose more time every single time he does it.
Bummer. Huh? This is a bummer, man.
Buzz gets back to his room and he finds a robot cat named Socks, who he asks to help him with the fuel equation. But what kind of robot cat is this that Buzz can just entrust him with a super complicated and highly sophisticated fuel equation? If everybody in the science division isn't cracking this thing, I highly doubt this cat's going to be able to crack it. So the next day, Buzz decides to do another test flight, and another, and another, and a bunch more of them as he only sees glimpses of his friends' lives slipping by. By the end, Hawthorne dies while he's away, and she leaves a super sad message for him as a going away present. And the new commander tells him that there will be no more missions because they're just going to make a giant laser shield and protect everyone that way. And the icing on the cake for all of this is the fact that when Buzz gets back to his room this time, the robot cat Socks did in fact solve the equation anyways. I find it super ironic that Buzz spent all that time testing the fuel and losing time with his best friend only for the cat to solve it anyways. And I guess because the cat solved the equation, a bunch of security guards show up to take him away. So Buzz and the cat run off to a hangar to put the new fuel in his ship and do one last flight in order to complete his mission and get everyone off the planet. Even though it's starting to feel like people don't really want to leave this planet, or at the very least, they don't really seem to care that Buzz is doing this in the first place. While getting the fuel into his new ship, Buzz breaks the keypad that the formula was on, so I guess Socks was smart enough to find the solution to the impossible problem, but not smart enough to put it on an extra USB stick. And it's super funny because Socks has a USB looking thingy in his tail that he uses to help launch their ship.
What? What the fuck?
Buzz ends up getting one last test flight in and it's successful. However, when he returns this time, the planet is more wasteland-esque and has a giant floating ship that looks super evil. And the evil person on the ship is referred to as Zurg. And you might be thinking, oh, cool, Zurg is going to be in this. I love Zurg. He's the villain from Toy Story 2. Objectively, the best Toy Story movie. Well, actually, in this one, they call him Zurg because that's what all of the minion robots say. And boy, I cannot wait to get to the big reveal in this movie and tell you more about this. Buzz ends up stumbling around, and the one person he finds is Izzy, who just so happens to be the granddaughter of his old pal, Commander Hawthorne. They team up, and Izzy introduces Buzz to her team, but they are interrupted by some more Zurg robots. During the fight with the Zurg robots, we also learn that Izzy and her group are just a junior patrol, and they are pretty bad at everything they do. Izzy shoots a robot with training ammunition. This guy, Mo, almost kills Buzz with a spear gun. And this old lady can't pick up a gun because apparently it'll violate her parole for some reason. Naturally, Buzz gets upset when he learns that this team is a bunch of unskilled volunteers. So he decides to part ways. Unfortunately for him, he ends up needing them because he can't figure out where to go. And the robot that's trying to give him directions keeps doubting itself. They drive to an old hangar that has some spaceships in it, and after a quick suit-up and some foreshadowing about some hibernating bugs on the ceiling, Izzy and her team pop up to make their car alarm go off, waking the bugs. They all put on Space Ranger suits and use the invisible mode again, but just like before, the time runs out and all the bugs end up seeing them. Ultimately, they make it out of the hangar in a ship, and as they approach space, it also turns out that Izzy is afraid of going into space. Now, in Hawthorne's really sad message that she left Buzz after she died, we see a super young Izzy, and her dream is to be a space ranger. So, the little girl, whose whole personality is wanting to be a space ranger, is afraid of space. Disney, come on. What are you doing with this movie? What are these characters? Zurg shows up in his ship to shoot them down and forcing them to travel on foot over to a nearby mining tower. Of course, they immediately get trapped in these weird prison rays, so they smash into the power sources, which causes the whole place to then explode. Then the side character Mo has this weird random moment where he sulks about how he almost got them all killed. So Buzz then tells them all about how he was once bad at things too. And in case you forgot about Buzz's BFF Hawthorne being dead, Socks then plays a message of her, reminding everyone that she's dead, because this movie also loves to be sad for some reason. On their way back to the ship, a giant Zurg robot says hello and chases Buzz until the old lady shoots it with a giant mining laser. Some more robots show up for a fun flying robots versus hovering ship chase. that involves the old lady and Mo shooting them down with rocket launchers and grenades. Unfortunately, Izzy mistakenly ejects the fuel cell, so a Zurg bot is not only able to snatch it and teleport it away, but now their spaceship doesn't have a fuel source. Before Buzz can be more sad about failing, another Zurg bot grabs him and takes him back to the mothership. So, are you ready for the big twist that I mentioned earlier? Well, strap in, because it's really dumb. Zurg is actually Buzz from the future, and the whole "I am your father" line from Toy Story 2 is now just written off as a reference to Star Wars. Honestly, I have a lot of thoughts about this whole twist and what they turned Zurg into, so I'm going to talk about those after I'm done with the plot. So while good Buzz is talking with future Buzz, Izzy gets some time to be sad about her mistake, while Mo and the old lady try to comfort her. Oh, and the reason why the robots just say Zurg is because they can't say Buzz, so he just goes by Zurg. That's why. Future Buzz tells younger Buzz that he reached a future so amazing he found the technology that would allow him to go back in time to fix everything. But all of a sudden, Buzz has a change of heart because he realizes that if he goes back in time and fixes his main mistake, Izzy and everyone else will cease to exist. This kicks off the final fight, which includes Buzz and Zurg fighting in zero gravity, Mo and the old lady building a bomb to blow up some robots, and Izzy conquering her fear of space in order to help Buzz. In the end, Mo and the old lady succeed in blowing up some robots, Izzy rescues Buzz, and the mothership explodes, sending Buzz flying into space. Turns out that Zurg also survived the explosion, and he hitches a ride on Buzz's ship, so Buzz ejects, getting his iconic backpack and wings, and he uses the fuel source to explode Zurg for good. Buzz Supermans the good people spaceship back to the planet. He realizes it was about the friends made along the way, and he's asked to start a new division of Space Rangers as the movie ends. Okay, so I just want to make sure I have this right. Andy, a 6-year-old boy, went to the theaters and watched 100 minutes of Buzz Lightyear being sad, and then became obsessed with this movie? Buzz is set up in Toy Story to be some epic kids action hero who goes around space and fights bad guys while keeping everyone safe. But this is nothing like that. This is a story about Buzz learning it's okay to have friends, not to do everything alone, and also mistakes happen, but don't beat yourself up about them too much. That would work if this was an origin story of Buzz figuring out what kind of ranger he wants to be and him growing into the big hero we all know and love. But that's not the case either, because throughout the movie, we learn about all these other epic adventures he's gone on and been successful at. And all of this is highlighted even more by how bad at everything Buzz is. He forgets about the stealth function having a timer both times he uses it. He crashes the main ship because he's too stubborn to ask for help. He never once asks anyone else about how they feel being trapped on this planet. He shoots his gun and then just throws it away. And he's a pretty bad pilot, since every ship he's in either crashes, gets shot down, or fucking explodes. Honestly, besides him narrating everything he does, this doesn't even feel like the Buzz toy from the Toy Story movies. I mean, fuck, he doesn't even once use the actual jetpack that he has as a toy. The one he uses is some prototype one or something. Actually, every single thing the toy Buzz has doesn't show up on the Space Ranger suits in this movie until the very end. So Lightyear is also one of those hero origin movies where the hero doesn't get his iconic look until the end of the movie. But let's move away from the Buzz talk and talk about the side characters for a second. 2 words. One-dimensional. Mo is voiced by Taika Waititi, and besides his iconic voice, all this character does is talk about how his suit has a pin, and in every situation he's in, he asks anyone around if the pin will help, and in the end, the pin ends up helping. The older lady is a criminal for stealing a spaceship, and her only trait is that she opens a locked door and can build a bomb at the very end. And Izzy is afraid of space, but wants to be a space ranger. So in the end, she goes into space and becomes a space ranger because she conquered her fear of space. And the animal character Socks is only there so he can explain what's going on to either the characters in the movie or to the audience if they need it. I just feel like all the characters, including Buzz, are written to be this one-note kind of person, and on every level, it just doesn't land. Plus, I always kind of liked the idea that Zurg was actually Buzz's father. As a massive Star Wars fan, I think it worked as a reference/joke, and also within the story of Buzz Lightyear himself. But now, Zurg is a future version of Buzz who went so far into the future, he got advanced tech so he could then go back in time and fix everything? That's kind of boring, but also that's really not an evil thing to do. Future Buzz literally went on a mission, came back, was accused of being the villain, and then went far into the future to find the technology to fix it. I don't see how it's evil to want to continue to fix the mistake that you made. He didn't have the chance to go on all these test flights like the Buzz we know did, so I just don't think he's set up to be that good of a villain. There was apparently a deleted scene where it was going to be Buzz's father, but I think either way, Zurg just isn't utilized properly in this story. Plus, what kid would want to buy a Zurg toy if it's just an older, sadder Buzz in a suit? Oh, and when Zurg gets into his ship, it is extremely obvious that it's Buzz's old ship, so I pretty quickly clocked that it was a future Buzz Lightyear. I just can't wrap my head around the idea to make the Buzz Lightyear movie this. Like Buzz's catchphrase, "to infinity and beyond." That is now canonically because him and his dead best friend used to say it to each other before he got her stranded on a planet. Again, I honestly thought that was always the Space Ranger's slogan or something, but no, dead friend stuff instead. I will say that at the time of making this video, I recently saw a Minecraft movie, and it's pretty fucking stupid. But as a kid's movie, I think it works. My hypothesis is backed up by the fact that I was the only person over 30 in the theater without kids, and every single kid in my theater was going fucking bananas every 5 minutes to everything on screen. In comparison to Lightyear, it just doesn't offer anything for kids to enjoy on that level, which really makes me wonder who this is for. Adults who grew up with Toy Story don't want to see sad Buzz being bad at everything, and kids don't want to either. So it's just a big swing and a miss overall. And all of that will land Lightyear in just plain garbage. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out my video on the invention of lying, an uninspired comedy that just isn't very funny. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.